Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I've got a bit of a battle for you between the brand new Makeup Revolution Fast Shaping Stick, Fast Base Stick foundations, contours, etc. And we're going to be comparing them to the L'Oreal Infallible Shaping Sticks? Longwear Shaping Sticks. Longwear Shaping Sticks. I should just do this again. Today I've got a bit of a comparison, a bit of a battle for you between the brand new Makeup Revolution Fast Base Sticks. So these are concealer, foundation and contour sticks, and we're going to be trying them and testing them out against the L'Oreal Infallible Longwear Shaping Sticks. On the screens right now is everything you need to know about these products. Up here somewhere, you can only get the Makeup Revolution currently on Tam Beauty or on Superdrug. L'Oreal sticks only seem to be available in the UK, or certainly I don't think they're in the US yet, but you can get them in Boots and Superdrug. Slight differences in price, slight differences in shade range, slight differences in the amount of product that you get. Obviously Makeup Revolution is cruelty-free and vegan, so if that's important to you, then you would obviously go for these over the L'Oreal. So without further ado, let's whack them on our face and see who wins. So I'm just going to prime with my MAC Prep and Prime Natural Radiance Primer, because this one generally does not interfere with my foundations. I've never had it like not work with the foundation. It also doesn't really like mattify my skin or illuminate it too much. So we will just see what the foundations do rather than what the primer is making them do, but it's just giving me an even base for them to go on top of. So you can see the difference in the amounts that you get. The L'Oreal one is quite a bit fatter, and bear in mind I've used this a good few times, whereas the Revolution is brand new. So you get a fair amount more. They're almost the exact same height if you think that I've used this a few times, but the L'Oreal is fatter. So maybe this one might be easier to contour with. Packaging of the Revolution ones is really nice. It's got a nice soft touch, and I really like the sort of rose gold shade. As you'll see, there is a slight difference in shade between these two, so I hope I'm not going to look too crazy. So my foundation shade in the L'Oreal sticks is Sand, which is number 160. I'll start off with that one because this is the one, I guess, that I know how it works. I know what I'm getting because I have used it a couple of times, like I said. Now I know the L'Oreal one works well with a sponge or a brush, but as these are kind of designed to be like quick and on the go, I do find a brush is quicker generally with sticks. But I do find this L'Oreal stick just blends out so nicely that you can actually easily blend it out with a sponge, which if you watched my review on the L'Oreal sticks, you'll know I was not expecting it to be so easy to blend out. So you can see immediately with that like first pass of the stick, I've got a decent sort of medium coverage, and I'm just going to build this up to see how we can add to the coverage, how it builds, all that kind of jazz. But you can see it's covered up a lot of my redness, but it just gives a really flawless finish. And as I said, although this claims to be matte in the description, it very much is not. I do find this to be a really good shade match for me, and I am around about an NC25 right now in my full winter skin. Swatch these side by side. So here is the Makeup Revolution and here is the L'Oreal. So you can see the Makeup Revolution, as far as the swatch goes, is quite a bit lighter and more yellow. The L'Oreal I think is a bit more neutral and definitely a little bit darker. So you can see that's a good couple of layers now of the L'Oreal, and you can see it's taken all of my redness away. It very much looks like skin. It's very much dewy, which I'm confused as to why they say it has a matte formula, because it definitely is nowhere near a matte. It's a nice colour match for me. Everything is blended really well. It looks very natural and very luminous, and is really smoothing as well on the skin. So let's see how we get on with the Makeup Revolution. And as I said, this is shade F6. Okay, straight away, this is like more of a drag on the skin, and that's definitely way too light. So definitely looks straight away more coverage is what I'm thinking. It's definitely like a thicker consistency, definitely one that will probably be much better with a brush than a sponge. So it doesn't feel as smooth, it's not gliding on quite as well as a L'Oreal, which you probably would expect from like, because it does claim to be a bit more full coverage. Okay, so now I've blended it out, that's not a disaster. It's definitely lighter than the L'Oreal. I could definitely have gone up a shade or two. So a very similar finish, very dewy as well. I definitely think I got more coverage on the Makeup Revolution side with just that first pass. I think if I build this up, then it will have more coverage than a L'Oreal. But as far as the finish, very similar. Definitely not quite as creamy as the L'Oreal side, but I imagine that is because it has got that fuller coverage, and it still is very blendable. It's just not quite as blendable, and I would definitely favour a brush with this. So I'm just looking close up in my mirror and I'm really struggling to see any difference. The finish is like near identical. Really the only difference at this stage is the shade is slightly different, and if anything the Makeup Revolution has got a tad more coverage. I did see, there isn't really a description online, but I did see someone from Makeup Revolution reply to someone's post on Instagram saying that it is full coverage, and I would probably just about agree with that. I didn't have any problems with brush strokes on either side. Application absolutely golden on either side, so far like nothing between them. So I'm now going to go in with the contour shades. So with the L'Oreal stick, I picked up the shade Toffee, which is a little warm for my liking. It's more of a sort of bronzy contour, so yeah, but I don't mind it. And obviously it's the exact same formula as the foundation that I use, exactly the same stick, it's just a different shade. So again, there is no issues blending it out, it blends really nicely, but you can see that is a warm shade. I couldn't really find a cool enough shade for a contour. So as you can see, it blended out like a dream, like lightning, absolutely no problem, but very much more of a like bronzy tone than contour tone. I have real high hopes for my contour shade in the Makeup Revolution because it looks cool to me. It's described as being cool toned, so fingers crossed. As I said, the stick is smaller, so it's like kind of oh, that is dark. Let's go a little light-handed with this one because that is dark. Yeah, so the smaller stick just makes contouring a bit easier. Definitely more of a contour shade, like the difference. This is definitely cool toned, which obviously Makeup Revolution having those extra shades is much more able to give all those different undertones. Like they, you know, looking at the shade descriptions online, they've got golden, neutral, peach, cool, pink, everything that you could want from an undertone. I really like that. I think that's a really nice undertone for a contour because it is that cool tone. I think I need to go a little bit more careful because it is such a deep shade on me. It was definitely a bit more effort to blend this side out than this side, but still no effort really. However, I think that just is that thicker consistency and that like higher coverage, but they're both blended beautifully. Definitely giving me more of a contour on this side because it is cooler toned, whereas this side is much more of like a bronzy shade. So I'm just going to zoom you in now and we'll see what the close-up is looking like. Okay, so we've zoomed in and I've turned the lights down for you so you can get nice and close and see what it really looks like. So you can see the luminosity, you can see what I'm talking about. Definitely not a matte foundation. This is the L'Oreal side. You can see that warmer toned bronzy contoury type of shade, very luminous. You can see how smoothing it looks. The Makeup Revolution side literally looks wet. You can see the cooler contour. You can see it's obviously just slightly lighter. Look at my forehead, smooth as anything. My textured area looking really good. Both sides very smooth. I don't know if it will come across on camera, but yeah, slightly more coverage on this side and obviously the slightly lighter shade, but they don't look too crazy. Okay, so I'm just going to finish up the rest of my makeup and then I'll come back and give you my final thoughts. Okay, so we're back. I have finished the rest of my makeup. I've put bronzer, blusher, highlight on, I've concealed, and then I've set only where I use my concealer. So all the usual places in between my eyebrows, down my nose, on my top lip, my chin, and just underneath my eyes. The Makeup Revolution side has settled into my smile line slightly worse than the L'Oreal side, but most foundations do that, in fact. pretty much every foundation does that, and neither is particularly dramatic. The L'Oreal side is actually pretty good for avoiding those smile lines. Forehead lines look pretty good. Texture looks good on both sides. Definitely the Makeup Revolution shade F6 is too light for me. If you are around my skin tone, I would recommend F8. F8 is the next yellow or warm tone shade up from F6, so I think that'd be a better shade for us NC25-ishes. Whereas the L'Oreal Sand shade is like my perfect match. As far as finish, I'd say they're identical, which is ironic because Makeup Revolution rightly claims to be dewy, which I think it is. The L'Oreal side claims to be matte, which it definitely is not. I think both sides are very flattering. I think both sides look very natural. Both sides look very luminous and very smooth on the skin. They both went on like a dream. L'Oreal slightly easier to blend. The larger applicator so kind of maybe slightly easier for applying foundation, but then the Makeup Revolution definitely a better size when it came to contour, and definitely F14 is the perfect contour shade for like my skin tone. Whereas with the L'Oreal very hard, I couldn't find any shade that looked like a cool-ish contour shade. So definitely a big fan of F14 for contour. Obviously you can swatch the L'Oreal at the moment because they are in Boots and Superdrug, whereas Tam Beauty only has these online and on Superdrug online. I don't believe they're in stores for like another month. We know that the L'Oreal wears well, at least on my normal skin, but I will keep you updated in the comments below as to how both sides wear throughout the day and if there's any comparisons in the way that they wear, and I will let you know in the comments down below how that goes. So I think they are both amazing. I've really enjoyed both of them. I will definitely be using them, especially probably my favorite is the contour from Makeup Revolution. I really love that. I did take a flash photo of both sides of my face. Personally, I think they both photograph under flash photography beautifully, so I think no worries there with white cast on either side. I think they both look lovely in photography, so again, really good for those purposes. Incredibly tough to choose between them. Pros and cons, obviously it's easier to pick these up in store. These are only online, cheaper, more product, better shade range. These you can get for 3 for 2, and they also do blushes and highlights. It's like, I mean, it's close. It is very close. I think just on shade range and options, I'm gonna just about give it to Makeup Revolution, but I love them both. I think they're both excellent, and I really have no complaints at this stage. I really hope you found this helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe before you go so that I can see you again. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye.